I just accidentally licked the microphone really aggressively.
For the naughty episode.
I bet it's not what I wanted.
Good.
You got a diploma for high school?
Oh, yeah? Not me. My mom just gave me a high five and said, get out there and make me some money. Let's do it. Ready, go.
Hello.
Hey, Emily.
We're going to do a Microtheticast, I think.
Oh, that's very true.
Definitely are.
Okay,
I've
good.
decided.
Yeah, my name's David.
My name is Emily.
My name is Mike. Welcome to this journey.
Thank you. I've got my sandals. I've got my horse. I've got my caravan. A lot of eight more people in it. So it's Oregon Trail style. Yeah.
Wow.
This journey is going to be real.
I
Mike.
forgot
I'm
all
ready.
my stuff, so I'm going to have to
That's
borrow.
okay. I brought plenty for everybody.
Okay,
I
great.
got
I think
wet
somebody
wipes
showed up
and-
for the Oregon Trail being like, oh, I forgot to pack. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
I guess I just brought my bag of snacks.
Is this like a picnic
but-
scenario, or are we gonna like be on
I
the
have
trail
hot
for a
fries.
while? I have a to-go box with half a burger in it. How am I doing?
I brought mini powdered sugar donuts, my favorite road trip snack.
Oh my god!
But
Are
I
those
didn't
your
bring
favorite?
a toothbrush. No, actually, they're kind of messy, but I
was
do
gonna
like
say,
them.
the
That's a horrible
powdered.
choice. No offense, but that's a horrible choice. Guess what we're doing this time?
What are we doing?
It's called The Good, The Bad, and The Answer. It's a game where we ask each other open-ended hypothetical questions and then talk about the pros and cons of those answers. It's a game about, there's two sides to everything, and we're going to find them. Guaranteed. No matter what, we will answer these questions, and then we will talk about how cool and how bad those answers are.
And because we just did a naughty themed episode, we're lifting our rule that we generally have, which is when we look through these questions, we're always like, oh God, we're not going to do those dumb naughty ones, because a lot of them are dumb.
Yeah.
This time we just did it. We just looked through the naughty section, and we're going to do some that we would normally never do.
We went
here we
behind
are.
a beaded curtain, and we found all the naughtiest questions, and we're here to answer them for you. So at long last.
Enjoy the naughtiness. I'll go first.
All
Thanks.
right.
David.
Yeah.
If you had to have one television show on while you were making love, which one would you want?
Oh, dang. It's a good question. Hannibal.
Oh, God.
And here's why.
Okay.
The score and sound design and general vibe of that show is pretty erotic. And I don't have to look at it while it's on in the background.
It would be there.
It would be there.
You might
I
look
don't
at
have
it.
to look at it. I might accidentally. But what's going to happen? I'm going to see, Hannibal being a nice dressed man. Most of that show is pretty nice to look at.
There are some gross things in it visually, but it's usually like maybe one per episode.
Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say.
Great.
Hannibal.
Okay.
The show Hannibal, starring everyone's favorite guy, Lawrence Fishburne.
Sure. You say the good or bad thing
Yeah,
about
I get
that.
to pick. I get to pick. The bad thing about it is that it actually is a really engaging show.
Sure.
And so I think that you or your partner or both of you might just get too wrapped up in it. It's got a lot of twists and turns and stuff. And so maybe it would be like sexy at first, and then you'd both slowly just be like, wait, what? What's going to happen?
Oh, yeah, that's
And then
true.
you just stop.
It's a good mystery. And then we'd be like, oh, whoops, I guess we watched an episode of Hannibal.
Exactly.
Cool.
But the good thing about watching Hannibal while you're making love is that it would open up a world of, maybe you would think I was going to say it would make bad things seem okay.
Oh.
You would associate, but then I was like, are you going to associate murder with sex?
Yeah,
then?
that's no good.
Actually, I don't like that line of thinking.
That
I don't
sounds
want.
pretty
I don't
good,
want
yeah.
you to do that.
The good thing would be conflating the boundary between murder and sex. Thank you, Mike. Next question.
Hey, you're the one who wants to watch Hannibal during sex, dude.
It has a good soundtrack.
I took the
Sure.
bad thing because I wanted to force you to pick a good thing,
Yeah, I'm working
Mike.
on it. Okay, I'm working on it. You know what? Here's what it would be.
Okay.
You know what they have on Hannibal?
What do they have?
Delicious food.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's mostly made of
Sensuous.
people, but
Yeah,
I feel like you
it's
don't
fine.
really see that. So
No.
I think maybe it would inspire you to create a whole atmosphere of lovemaking that includes not just the act itself, but the whole presentation.
Yeah.
The appetizer, the wine,
Again,
the drink
conflating
pairing.
the line between sex and murder.
Look, you picked Hannibal, and that's pretty much what the show is. It's the
not
classiest
wrong.
show
Yeah.
there is about
Yeah,
murder.
it is.
But I think it would class up your sex life too.
Sure,
I think
hope so.
you'd be picking out like these perfectly matched 3-piece suits to wear during sex.
During the whole time.
Yeah.
That again sounds
really hoping
good.
hoping you're leaning away from the murder aspect, but it's going to be there. But it's just a show. So I think that really you'd be inspired by the impeccably coiffed Mads Mikkelsen.
I think so. Maybe turned on by, to be fair.
Yeah. I think that's another bonus.
Little boner bonus.
Yeah, just about to say boner bonus.
It's our naughty episode. We can do it.
We can do it.
You would not have refrained from that in any other episode.
You might be right. You know, it's funny. As we discussed this, I thought of at least 5 shows that are better choices than Hannibal. But you know what? That's the game.
It's the nature of the game,
That's
baby.
how it works. The good, the bad, and the answer. I'll ask a question next to Emily. Emily, if you could have one part of your body glow in the dark, Emily, what part would it be?
Ooh, that is cool. First thing that popped in my head was a very practical answer, not a very sexy answer.
Hey.
As a person who, for part of my job, is to like be on stage during blackouts, I feel like if I picked like nipples, that would be very distracting.
But otherwise, that would be great.
I don't know. It could be kind of fun.
You would be covered in clothes. So.
Yeah, it'd be okay.
That's true. So they wouldn't necessarily be just like blazing bright.
I think glow in the dark. It's standard glow in the dark rules where you have to charge it up by putting it under light.
Okay.
And then it glows.
I think toes would be nice because then you wouldn't like run into stuff.
Oh, interesting. You'd always have a little ambient
it's like
light around your
a little
toes.
Flashlight on your feet.
That is surprisingly practical. Okay.
The bad thing about that is that when you're sleeping in your bed, you might fall asleep and wake up in the middle of the night and see like this glowing light under your covers and be like, what the hell is that? And be really freaked out because there's like ghosts glowing under your covers. And also your cat might try to grab them. Mm-hmm. Like Henry will be
Very
like,
true.
oh my God, what is that? I need that in my life. And would be chasing after your toes in a way that he hasn't done so far. So I think that could be potentially scary and annoying for you.
Scary and annoying.
Yeah.
The good thing about that would be, you know, when you're putting on shoes and you're like, man, I really wonder like what it looks like in here. Wonder no more.
That feeling
because
we've
you
all
have
had.
a cool little flashlight on your foot to light up the inside of your shoe, so you can find the centipede or the rock or the razor blade or whatever horror might be waiting inside that dark shoe. You now know without having to carry around a flashlight, because obviously you could look in, but it's so much work. Now they're built in and they look really cool with sandals. So that's also awesome.
You guys bring up some great points.
Yeah.
Mike.
Hey.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you had to put a new sexually explicit tattoo on your body, implying that you might already have one, where would you have it located and what would it be? And this is a sexually explicit tattoo, which I actually have trouble like imagining besides just a naked person, but you know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. I mean, I'm like, what is a sexually explicit tattoo?
I think like any an image that Instagram would ban.
Female presenting
Go
nipples.
for that. Penises.
Yeah, big dicks.
Or small ones.
Yeah.
Small ones are fine. Instagram is like whatever. That's little enough.
Any size. Any size is good.
Naughty, according to the internet. You can't see.
Yeah. So
a new one, remember, Mike?
Yeah,
you can't
I know.
use
I've
one
got
you
so
already
many
have.
already. And the entire Kama Sutra tattooed on my back.
It's good to have for reference.
I don't know why I put it on my back though.
So
I mean, but you put
it
it backwards so that you can like
in the mirror that's on my ceiling.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
you're
then, so
right.
then the person you're having sex with can be like, "Oh, what if we did number 9?" And they're like, "Oh yeah."
and you're like, wait, I
no.
don't remember what that one is. Can you explain it to
And
me?
you get out your
And
reference
then-
sheet that's
Yeah.
you have in your pocket.
What is Badger discovers the secret cave? What was that one? The thing is, to me, like sexy and sexually explicit are almost like at odds with each other. Like they're not
maybe.
a sexy tattoo would be like maybe like on my hip, like something that most people wouldn't see unless it was like an intimate moment. And
But
it would
that's
just
not
say
the
like
point
in
of
very
this.
flowery like letters like, hey.
How do you convey tone of voice in a tattoo?
I think font selection is a big part of
Font
that.
selection and also like how many Y's do you use? Yeah.
3 Y's key.
Dang.
That's great.
So I think you're right. 3 Ys is probably appropriate.
This is not sexually explicit.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Sorry, guys. I was just thinking about the sexiest tattoo I could have.
I know you
and
are.
It would be
and that's
that.
great. That's a great idea.
Fine. Sexually explicit. I don't know. I guess, my instinct is to just maybe like on my butt or something, just because no one will see it then. And plus then it's like, I don't know. Again, sexually explicit, not that sexy. So if you just have like...
Sometimes it can be.
You're right. I guess like it all depends on how it's presented. I think of sexually explicit, I think it's...
It just means there's nudity.
Yeah, I don't think explicit necessarily needs to be like...
Wait, okay. Just like a butt, but like on my butt.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like how you like the simplicity of that. It's like a Zen koan.
Poetic,
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, butt on my butt.
Butt on my butt sounds like a YouTube video that was popular in 2002.
It was, yeah.
The good thing about this is, are you all familiar with ghoulies?
And how I am.
And how they attack you out of toilets into your butt and then kill you. They're like little Critters ripoffs, basically. Or Critters, I guess, Gremlins ripoffs. It's hard to know what was a ripoff of
Is it a movie?
It's a movie series, a horror movie series
go
with little
in your
monsters
butt?
and they come out of the toilet and up your butt and they make
Honestly,
you explode.
not sure that any ghoulie goes into anyone's butt.
Let's say they do.
But
they attack you from...
The most famous image from the ghoulies is a ghoulie popping out of a toilet. It's on the VHS cover.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's popping
Weird
out.
that I missed that.
Yeah, it is weird that you missed that one.
So ghoulies will come up. They will come up out of the toilet at some point to get you in your butt.
No.
They will.
They'll get you in the end.
They'll get you in the end. That's the tagline.
Oh, God.
This ghoulie will think that the smaller butt is your butt.
Yes.
And it will save your inner butt from the ravages of this ghoulie.
I did it.
It'll just be some cheek stuff, and that'll be fine.
Just some cheek
And then
stuff.
you'll be able to turn on the ghoulie and dispatch it in some way, and you won't get damaged in the way that you otherwise would have, which is a great mercy.
Yeah, I need my butt.
You need it. It does some important stuff.
The bad thing about it is that anybody who ever saw it, which I know that it wouldn't be a daily occurrence, but people would still see your butt sometimes.
Yeah.
And every time they would, they'd be like, whose butt is that? And they wouldn't believe you if you were like, oh, no, it's just a generic butt. Like, they'd be like, no, it's not. It's inspired by someone. Whose is it? And then if you like made up an answer to it, they'd be like, whoa, that's weird. Why do you have that person's butt? Maybe they'd be jealous. Maybe they'd be confused. It would just be, I think, could be cause for some jealousy.
Good conversation starter.
Definitely.
Mike, if you could consensually,
of course,
grab the buttocks of someone famous, whose would you grab?
Like how both of my questions have been butt. I guess I made the last one butt themed on my
you
own.
made it about
That was
butts.
me. I made it about butts.
Didn't have to be.
What we talk about when we talk about butts. I would like to consensually grab the butt because I got to pick somebody. I'm going to pick Abraham Lincoln.
Perfect.
Oh, all right.
Because I just think he's painted as a very stoic, like serious figure, and I think
you want to see him giggle.
I want to see the lighter side of Abe, and the fact that it's consensual is kind of like I'm envisioning it as kind of like a game. Like we have like you're gonna be doing a speech, and I might come grab your butt. And you're like, don't do it,
at
man.
Any time. And he's like, wink, wink. You can grab me one time at a speech. Okay.
Yeah. So there we go. Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. The bad thing about Abraham Lincoln's butt. 2 words. Too juicy.
Oh, God.
His butt is so good, unprecedentedly good. There is no way it should be as good as it is.
He was
based
so
on his
lanky
lifestyle.
and bony.
Exactly. It's such a surprise.
And David has done this.
No one will believe you.
David's gone back in
Yeah,
time.
no one else will believe
that Abraham Lincoln, otherwise a very rope-thin sort of
angular man.
That has like lots of pointiness. His butt is just the peach emoji.
The peach emoji.
It's perfect. And you will never touch a butt as good as that. And also no one will believe that you have touched a butt as good as that. That is the bad thing.
I just want to say that when you said juicy, Emily's eyes flew open in I couldn't tell what emotion it was.
I honestly couldn't either.
Yeah, I think she was just like so surprised.
That's what that emotion is called.
That was the bad thing.
That's bad.
It's bad because no one will
it's a good
believe
touch,
it's a
but
true
it's
story.
And he'll never get it
it's
again.
all downhill from there. You'll never ride that high again.
Never again.
The good thing, though, would be you could immediately capture in your journal all the details and the adjectives that came to mind. And then you could keep it forever. And then when you're on your deathbed, you could hand it over to a loved one and say, I just want you to keep this memory alive. It's okay if you don't believe me, but it is true, and I've cherished it for the rest of my life. And then posthumously, that's how we say that word.
I know what you mean.
You would become known as the person who finally told the truth about Abe Lincoln's juicy rear.
Now it
Tell
can
my
be told.
Story. Handing a bunch of papers that are just a description of Abraham Lincoln's butt and how it felt to someone on your deathbed it's inspiring. That's a very beautiful thing.
Power move.
Yeah, it definitely is a power move. So I never told you about this, but I wrote a whole novel about Abraham Lincoln's
I love you. Yeah, you mean a lot to me. Yes, life and death, very profound experience. Read these papers.
But also, it is come
the Butt
time.
Chronicles.
The Butt Chronicles are here.
David, if
Yeah,
you were
bud.
to describe the one natural setting you'd most like to make love in, what would it be like?
Natural setting.
That's what it says. It says, describe the one natural setting you'd most like to make love
So
in.
not man-made.
Top of a waterfall.
Oh, boy. So Emily's eyes flew open
Emily
once
had the
again.
juicy emotion again.
That time it was very fear-based because tops of waterfalls are dangerous.
Are you
taking
going
a
to
bad
take
thing?
bad?
A bad thing,
Okay.
yes. Bad thing is that it might be beautiful and feel very powerful, but there's no such thing as like a stable place on the top of a waterfall. If you are in the water on the top of a waterfall, the chances that you are going to get swept over and crushed while making love.
Crushed While Making Love is a Guns N' Roses song. I'm pretty sure.
I just think it's too dangerous.
Oh, no.
Especially because a lot of times while making love, one can get lost in feelings and sensations and pay less attention to their surroundings. Sex injuries, it's a thing. Ask anybody who works in an ER. And this could be potentially very bad sex injury.
Will my tombstone say sex injury?
Yes.
That's all it will say, not even my name.
And it wouldn't be embarrassing like, oh, I got something random stuck in my butt, like most people's sex injuries. They would be like, how come you're now like
Dead?
a bloody pulp? And you'd be like, oh, I was making love on top of a waterfall. And you'd be like, well, that's reckless.
Well, that was a mistake.
You know what, though? It wouldn't be a mistake because here's the good thing about that, David. I can think of no better mirror in nature of the rush and release and sheer power and force of lovemaking than a waterfall.
Ew.
The water just roaring over the falls and the rush and mist in your ears.
Yeah.
Your ears?
In my ears, yeah.
The roar would just mirror your inner state as you're feeling the utmost ecstasy.
Oh, wow.
All of nature would be like in harmony with you and your partner as you make love at the top of a waterfall.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I was picturing.
And it's not dangerous if you do it inside of a barrel.
Yeah.
That's what people did to go over Niagara Falls, and you can also do it.
I can.
Yeah, none
make
of
love.
them died.
Yeah, what I meant was inside a barrel going over a waterfall.
Yeah, okay.
That's naturally
exactly what it would be
occurring,
like.
right?
Yeah.
My turn.
Ask a question.
Emily, I got one for you. This is our last one. If you were to have any author write a novel about your love life, who would you have do it?
Ooh. That's a good question. Because like writers who are good at writing sexiness.
Yeah, technically it says love life. So there don't have to be explicit scenes in it if you don't want there to be.
We all
Oh,
want
come
some.
on. Why do people even read books?
Well, I feel like if the novel is about a love life, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If it's just a regular novel and there aren't any explicit sex scenes,
It's a
that's
romantic
fine.
novel,
But if it's
though.
like a romantic novel and the sex scenes are like they kissed and then they woke up in the morning, I'm like, come on.
They kissed and kissed and
That's not
kissed
why
and
we're
kissed
here.
and kissed and kissed.
God, this just makes me realize how few good sexy scenes I've read about.
It's tough to do.
I would want it to be a woman just because I think they'd be able to write my perspective better.
Sure.
Famous author? Is that what it's asking
I
for?
think it just says author. Yeah, author.
Author.
It could
Any
even
author.
be Mike just now describing Niagara Falls and the amazing experience atop
I'm going
it.
to write a book.
The mist in your ears?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mist in your ears. It goes right in.
The mist,
Seems
just
bad.
like you guys get mist in your ears when you have sex, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing everybody has,
Totally,
right?
yeah.
This is not a conventional or maybe not a very straightforward answer,
Great.
but show that I think had like the hottest sex scenes in recent times, The Americans. I would want the writers of that show, or at least maybe I could like look at what parts they wrote and pick the one that I think did the best.
Yeah, that's awesome. The writer of the sex scenes in The Americans. I love it. I love that. It's
so dumb, but I don't know. I do feel like that's a hole in my reading. I haven't read a lot of sexy stuff. Some books like have sexual content in them.
The writers of The Americans.
Specifically of the episodes where there are good sex scenes.
And maybe they would just like have me be Carrie Russell and that would be helpful.
Yeah.
The bad thing about that is that you would be written as if you had sex in lots of different disguises. And so being the writers of The Americans, they would probably take a lot of artistic license. And yes, there's some great steamy scenes in The Americans, but oftentimes people are playing like double, triple, like quadruple, like layers of deception. And even though I'm assuming your current love life is not like that, they'd probably be tempted to add that in. And so people would be like, oh my gosh, like Emily has so many secrets. And you'd be like, guys, I don't have that many secrets. But they're like, well, you're wearing all those disguises when you have sex. So like,
clearly you do.
You must.
Getting some mixed messages.
So they probably put in some like too many creative liberties with your sex life. They would have to put in some crazy wigs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the good thing would be this would be the first book that was shipped with a CD that you were supposed to listen to alongside it, because the best sex scenes in The Americans are often a part of like a montage or some kind of musical moment, and the song choices during those moments are always perfect.
Good, yeah.
Like whoever is doing that is also doing a great job. So I think these writers are like, all right, we're gonna send a CD with, and there's gonna be a little music note at the beginning of the page that says, put this into your CD player and go to track 3 on this page when it starts and listen to this song as you read this sex scene. And I think that will be very good for people, and it will be notable because everybody will remember it forever, being like, oh yeah, it was this really cool book where the sex scenes had soundtracks. That was fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's good in multiple ways. It increases the power of the book and the memorability of the work.
Maybe there could be like a trunk of disguises that you get with the book too.
Like a big one.
Yeah, that you would wear.
Put on this wig for this chapter.
An actual alternate identity that you could use like
while you
filled
read.
out. Yeah, it's great. You can commit all sorts of fraud. A job offer with the CIA comes with the book. Matthew Rhys is there. He's in the book. His beautiful little mouth.
Hi, friends. Do you like to talk to us, communicate with us, or just read some other questions and ponder them in your head throughout the week and not just when our episodes come out? You can do that on social media. Facebook, we're at Hypotheticast. Twitter, we're at Hypotheticast. Instagram, we're at Hypotheticast_IG. You could send us an email at hypotheticast@gmail.com, or check out our website where you can listen to our episodes or comment or reach out to us, hypotheticast.club.
You could also review us on the podcast app of your choosing, or just talk about us to others. Thank you for doing so.
Thank you to Jaden James and The Hunger for their song Killing It from their album Raw. Thank you to Christian Hagen for designing our logo. And thank you to the listeners for putting up with 2 naughty episodes in a row. I hope you feel... I was going to say dirty, but that's like the negative version of naughty. I hope you feel spicy.
I hope you feel free.
Dirty in a good way.
Yeah. Gertie.
Happy dirty.
Happy dirty.
Happy dirty.
That's the name of your sex life book.
Happy dirty.
I'm marching